Forward, I would now like to call our next guest speaker, Aradhna Rana ma'am. She's the founder principal of the Icon Public School, India. Aradhna Rana ma'am, over to you.
Thank you so much. I've been here since 9 o'clock and listening to various speakers. I think wonderful inputs, and some very technical, some not. And like Dr. Negi, put up the way she spoke about her school, I think very, very motivational. So I'm Aradhna Rana from the Icon Public School, and this is a school in Ahmednagar, which is not a very big city. So I do belong to that segment where smaller cities, which are, I think, in terms of the topic we are speaking on, I think smaller cities are doing much better than the urban cities. However, today I'm very, very proud that two of my students will be speaking later on the group. And I'm so happy to see the younger generation being so passionately involved in issues that are global and wanting to make a positive difference. So as we take up the goal 13 on the 13th day of the summit on the 13th of April, I want to relive some memories of my childhood. And, when I think back of my childhood, we never actually thought of these terms of climate change. To us, climate meant June was hot, winter was, December was cold. So in June, we went up to hill stations, and even cities like Pune, Mahabaleshwar, Dehradun, Chandigarh, they were all non-fan stations. And when we came back to Delhi in winters, we enjoyed the quilts, we enjoyed the bonfires, and gradually, these things started changing. So the quilts went off, bonfires were hardly there, and ACs came in. In my childhood, I don't remember, switching on an AC. So even when you went to hill stations, they were more crowded, and the hill stations became fewer and fewer. Now, to us, the greenhouse meant, the green cloth that used to put around to, grow our saplings. And then came the term greenhouse effect. So gradually, we heard of a lot of droughts, floods, and then the tsunami came in 2004. Now, let me tell you, a tsunami I only used as a metaphor in English language, where it meant something like a bigger flood. But when the tsunami came and, we studied more about it in technical terms, that is a time this climate change really hit, I think, everybody. And then some frightening statistics, came out, and people started taking it very seriously. Now, 91% of the disasters that happen in the world are climate related. As of 2017, 1 degree centigrade rise in temperature, it becomes global warming. So, to put this into perspective, what does 1 degree centigrade of temperature rise mean? It means the global yield of wheat decreases by 6%. The global yield of rice decreases by 3.2%. Maize yield decreases by 7.4%. Now, this data in percentage may not seem much, but in terms of amounts, this leads to hunger, this leads to food problems. So this is how, things started getting serious. Now, sea levels have risen by 8 inches since 1880, but they are likely to increase by 1 to 4 feet by 2100. So, frightening absolutely. Global emissions of carbon dioxide are increasing more rapidly in this decade than they increased in the last 3 decades. So, very, very frightening. And then we hear so much of wildfires, floods all over the world. And what are they doing? They are disrupting national economies. The costs are really huge. Now, what is it? Is that really alarming? It is. What can we do? Should we stop industrialization? Is it possible to halt the progressive path of that mankind has taken? Should we go back to medieval times? No. Life is always moving ahead. Life never comes back. So progress is the essence of all humanity. The path is always ahead. We have developed industries, we have developed so much technology, we have discovered planets, we are on the verge of sustaining life on other planets. What are we doing to our own planet? We are going to other planets. So if the human mind, human brain can achieve that much, can't we overcome this? Of course we can. The question is how. Now, like Mr. Vincent Thomas, I think he gave a wonderful presentation and he talked about how. So how do we devise affordable solutions to a cleaner environment? How do we devise renewable energy sources? How do we find ways to reduce emission? But the crux point in all this is global collaboration. Climate change is a global challenge. It does not respect any national borders. Now you see, the atmosphere has no boundaries. Corona has shown us, greatly that it's a global world. It transcends countries, religions, caste, creed, and so does pollution. Emissions anywhere affect people everywhere. This is how the Paris Agreement came about on 12 December 2015. All countries did agree to work together to limit the global temperature rise. For this, like Dr. Negi and Mr. Vincent Thomas said, each one has to do his or her own bit. If each one adds a drop, it will become an ocean. Just like each one of us is the drop in the ocean of humanity. Let us not bother about who is doing what, whether they are doing or not, because eventually our drop is the one that matters. Now, how has India worked towards this goal? India has the third highest emitter of carbon dioxide. It's responsible for 6.9% global emission. But it's not because we are more careless than others. It is just we have those many numbers. So that is why we need to work harder at the innovation level, at coming out with more renewable sources of energy, going into research and science and technology for our agricultural field. Now, on October 2nd, 2016, India adopted a National Action Plan on Climate Change and National Mission for Green India. The Government of India established the Niti Aayog for SDG. The government is doing its part for whatever it's worth. What are we doing? So, let's do our part. The government makes these programs and plan, but we, the people, have to execute the idea, execute the plan. Now, people in my generation, we have led lives where this was not a priority. The problem crept up so insidiously that we didn't come to know, that these things were coming in. And we may not be even alive to see the actual repercussions of what we are doing. But what about the next generation? We as, adults, we amass so much wealth for our next generation. We set up their businesses. We are so worried, after me what, heirs to my kingdom. So all that. But are we going to leave them some oxygen, water, food? So these are the questions we have to ask ourselves. Therefore, it is our responsibility, especially we as educators, because we are in the driver's seat where we can influence generations. We are the torch bearers who can, set up this whole generation to ideas where they can help themselves. And this is what we need to do today. And most of us, who are enlightened are doing today. So bringing awareness and bringing motivation to this new generation is our job. Now, one Greta shook the world out of its slumber. Imagine what these millions of Gretas we create will do if they are awakened. We should create armies of environment warriors and peace ambassadors. I firmly believe the world, all this climate change, everything we do, put it across to industrialization. But a major role is the war scenario that we are building around the world. It's not just about, ammunition and nuclear weapons. It is the time and energy we spend in planning our wars. if we did not do that, we would spend the same time and energy in making this planet green, more inhabitable. We would probably create the space for all of us to live peacefully. So that is why, to sustain these future generations on this planet, this particular area needs to be addressed urgently. Now, what can we do to encourage this? Speakers who have spoken before me, they have given you a lot of ideas, and simple ideas like use bicycles instead of cars, carpooling, a restoration of small farms. The small farmer is dying. So if we just restore it, to huge afforestation and all is a big time plan. But if we just encourage small farmers to come out with small plans, small farms, it will do a lot of good. Developing climate resilient food, tree crops, then waste segregation, these little things which day to day we can teach our children and implement in society. Like Mr. Thomas said, recycling, reusing, you can never sort of speak too much on it. It is always less whatever we do. And awareness in community. So these are the things that we can do, and let us leave a world to our sons and daughters that they will thank us for. And let us show them the path to leave it for even better for their children. We can then smile from heaven, and we would have done our bit. Thank you.
Not continue to pollute the atmosphere, poison the ocean, and exhaust the land, as there isn't any more available. By polluting the oceans, not
Gauri Mutha from the Icon Public School, Ahmednagar.
Good afternoon. I'm Yugandhara Bhal Singh from the Icon Public School, Ahmednagar. Today we are going to speak on the goal 13, that is climate change.
What is the scariest ride you've ever been on? Possibly a roller coaster ride, Disneyland, or some other amusement park ride, right? Well, the scariest ride I have ever been on was sitting in the back of a taxi in New Delhi, India. A thick layer of smoke filled the air and made visibility only a couple yards. The driver would veer left and right to avoid them all. And while I was sitting in the back, frozen in terror, that all of a sudden the red tailing of the truck appeared and the driver slammed on the brakes. Our taxi just halted. That was the first time I experienced the dangers of smog and realized that we need to change before it's too late.
Global warming is a term almost everyone is familiar with, but its meaning is still not clear to most of us. So, global warming refers to the gradual rise in the overall temperature of the atmosphere of the Earth. Only when the last tree has died, the last river has been poisoned, and the last fish has been caught, will we realize that we cannot eat money. Ambient air pollution accounts for an estimated 4.2 million deaths per year due to stroke, heart disease, lung cancer, and chronic respiratory diseases. Around 91% of the world's population lives in places where air quality level exceeds the WHO limits. Mahatma Gandhi said it right. Earth provides enough to satisfy every man's need, but not every man's greed. We are using this planet as if we have another one to go.
All we are concerned about is earning profit and money, but who will think of the future generation and their right of inheriting a safe and secure environment from us? The sands of time have rendered fear. Blue skies on high, no longer clear. Stars were bright whence they came, now dimmed, accursed, pollution haze. Crystal clear our waters gleam. Fish abundant, rivers steam. Ocean floors sandy white, now littered, brown, pollution's flight. Trees starred high above, trunks bearing professed love. Birds chirping from sights unseen. Gone, vapor joined pollution steam. One can't blame pollution alone. As they say, you reap what you sow. So let us plant a better seed. Tear out old roots, cultivate, weed.
Protect what has been given for free. Our waters, skies, wildlife and trees. For once they are gone, don't feel safe. Consider yourself on that fatal day. Now, we all are in a situation from which recovery is very painful. But let's fix it out. Becomes impossible. Yes, we cannot stop global warming overnight or even over the next several decades. But we can definitely slow the rate and limit the amount of global warming by reducing human emissions of heat trapping gases and soot.
If all human emissions of heat-trapping gases were to stop today, Earth's temperature would continue to rise for a few decades as ocean currents bring excess heat stored in the deep ocean back to the surface. Once this excess heat radiated out to space, Earth's temperature would stabilize. Experts think that the additional warming from this hidden heat are unlikely to exceed 0.9 degrees Fahrenheit. With no further human influence, natural processes would begin to slowly remove the excess carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and global temperatures would gradually begin to decline. All we want to say is we don't want to protect the environment, but we need an environment which does not need protection. Thank you.